Hello everyone, this is Harshita Suresh and this is my first series. Now, have you ever felt this? Just when you think English is a very easy language, not that hard after all. Bam, you forget your basics. Yes, been there, done that. So, introducing Project Active and Passive Voice. To brush up your basics. A little about myself before we begin. I am a normal college going student studying BSc Electronic Media and I aspire to become a designer and journalist. I am an ardent grammar Nazi and I love music more than anything. Now here's what we'll be covering today. We'll be learning how to identify active and passive voices, and because identification is pretty much the most basic but most important part to this entire process. And secondly, definition and difference between the voices. Now let's just dive right in with an example. The cat chased the mouse. Sentence 1. Sentence 2, the mouse was chased by the cat. Now both of these literally mean the same thing. Then why active written next to this sentence and passive written next to this? Well, the answer to that you will know by the end of this module. But for now, let us find out the subject, verb and object in each of these sentences, shall we? The cat chased the mouse. The cat chased the mouse. What chased the mouse? The cat, making cat the subject. Now cat chased what? The mouse, making mouse the object. But what did the cat do to the mouse? It chased it, making chased our verb, our main verb. Now that goes with the first sentence. Now the second sentence, the mouse was chased by the cat. By what? The cat, making cat the object here. And what was chased by the cat? The mouse, subject. Now chase, the main verb in the first sentence, comes down similarly, but there is a new addition to this. Was chased by. Now what is was? Where did was come from? Was is an auxiliary verb. New word. What is auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb is a verb. Was is a verb, yes. An auxiliary verb is a verb that acts as an extra attachment to the main verb, which is chased in this situation. So was chased by an auxiliary verb is an enhancement to the entire statement, making the sentence meaningful. The mouse was chased by the cat. Now let's get to the definitions. Firstly, active voice. Now we have an example. Nina helps Maya. Very generic, very simple. Nina helps Maya. Here, who helps Maya? Nina, making Nina our subject. Nina helps whom? Maya, making Maya the object. What does Nina do to Maya? She helps her, making help our verb. Now we understand that the subject does something. That is, Nina does something to Maya, which is help. Here's the definition. A verb is said to be an active voice when its form shows that the person or thing denoted by the subject does something. That is the doer of an action. The active voice is called so because the person denoted by the subject acts. So active voice literally got its name because the person is doing something, actively doing something right at that moment. Hence the word active voice. Next comes passive voice. Previously we saw Nina help Maya. But here it says Maya is helped by Nina, which pretty much means the same thing again. Now if you realize, passive voice is just restructuring of the active voice, but just adding a little more few words here and there, right? Passive voice seems more elaborate and formal than active, which is direct and straight at the point. It hits hard at the nail, right into the wall, right? So Maya is helped by Nina, Maya here is the subject. Is helped by whom? Nina, making Nina the object. Is helped is your verb here, with is being your auxiliary verb. Now here something is done to the subject. Yeah? Now the verb is said to be in passive voice when its form shows that something is being done or is done the person or thing denoted by the subject. That's passive voice for you guys. Question. What is the difference between active and passive voice? What better way than to look into it with an example? The police caught the thief. The thief was caught by the police. Now let's just compare these two sentences and figure out what is new. The police caught the thief. Who caught the thief? The police caught the thief, making police the subject. The police caught whom? The thief, making thief the object. What did the police do to the thief? He caught the thief, making caught our verb here, our main verb in the first sentence, which supposedly is in active voice. In their second sentence, the thief was caught by the police. The thief was caught by the police. By whom? The police, making police the object. Who was caught by the police? The thief, making thief the subject. Caught comes down, it's a verb, but there's an extra auxiliary verb. Yes, so what is the difference between an active and passive voice? In the passive voice, there's always an extra auxiliary verb that is attached to the main verb. First difference. Now let's look into another example and find out the other differences between active and passive voice. Reporters write news reports. Reporters write news reports. News reports are written by the reporters. So in our first sentence, who writes news reports? The reporters, making reporters a subject. Now reporters write what? News reports, making news reports the object. Now what do the reporters do? They write news reports, making write our main verb in the first sentence in active voice. Now in the second sentence, which is supposedly in passive voice, news reports are written by the reporters. By whom? Reporters, making them objects. And what are written by reporters? News reports, making news reports our subject. Now if you notice, write has become written here. There is a change in the form of the verb, but the basic mother verb is the same, write. Now write has become written, making our second point. And of course, there's an auxiliary verb, are written by the reporters. So our first point, we already know the difference between active and passive voice. There is an extra auxiliary verb in the passive voice. And the second point is, verbs need not always, remain the same. They might mold into some other form in the passive voice. That is second point. Now the third point, if you notice, the reporters in the first sentence turn out to become object in the second sentence. So first previously subject becomes the object, while news reports, which was the object previously, directly becomes the subject in the passive voice. So here's a summary. Difference between active and passive voice. Firstly, there's an auxiliary verb in the passive voice. That is extra, that is always not there in the active voice. Secondly, the verb need not always be same. It can get molded, or it doesn't have to necessarily, but it can get molded into some other form of the same verb in the passive voice. And thirdly, the subject in the active voice becomes the object in the passive voice, while the object becomes the subject. There is a reverse. Well, that's all for now. Thanks a lot. Please rate, review, recommend and share. And in the next module, we'll be looking further deeper into more examples. Stay tuned. This is Harshita Suresh signing off. Thank you.